Look, I know Donald Trump wants to win this election. And if he wants to win, this, I don't think, is the way he should go about it. But I wonder if he can help himself. Let's ask someone who has often used rhetoric when he is talking. Peter Navarro, former Trump White House advisor and author of the new MAGA deal, the unofficial deplorables guide to Donald Trump's 2024 policy platform. Good to see you. So you and I agreed.
That's quite a montage there. Where do we start?
All right, well, you and I agreed last time we talked that it was smart that Donald Trump was not talking about the 2020 election. You said you thought it was smart politics that he was not denying anymore that he had lost the election. You said to me you thought that was smart politics. He's now sort of backed off.
What I said was that it was smart to focus on inflation,
right,
the border, crime, law and order.
But this stuff, do you think this? If you're advising him and you're a guy who talks, you're not shy about your rhetoric. You think this is a good idea?
So let me talk about the mental impairment comment, because I want to tell you what I see when I see Kamala Harris and what I think the boss is seeing when he talks that way and really hasn't been as clear about this. I see somebody who's very well scripted, very well rehearsed, but very inflexible. Now, when she was in the debate, well scripted and well rehearsed, she was so good, like a Hollywood star, that it looked like it was just fluid, right? But then in the following days, people are asking her questions, right, and she's saying the same script.
So let's agree. Let's even say everything you're saying is true.
Okay.
Right?
But here's the thing:
that she's not good in interviews, that she's scripted,
right? Well rehearsed, and flexible.
How does that make her mentally
clinically
impaired?
Now, hang on, hear me out here. I have a little experiences. When I was teaching 25 years with business students, I try to teach them economics, but I also try to teach them how to think on their feet in dynamic, interactive situations. Clinically, what people would describe her as is as non-adaptive, non-improvisational.
Okay.
In other words, okay. Now, in normal people, that's not a mental impairment. But if you are Dan, I've been there. If you're president of the United States and you can't go to the G7 or the G20 or be in the Oval Office and act in a way in an interactive, dynamic situation where you necessarily have to go off script, which Trump is the master of, I'm not sure that that's being fit for president. And I think the voters need to understand, and you of all people, as a journalist, representing journalists, should be as frustrated as Trump is that she won't go out and let people see that.
You're changing the subject, right?
No, I'm saying that...
I'm talking about the rhetoric. You're making the arguments against Kamala Harris, right? I get those, all of them. But what I'm saying is, if he's trying to win the election, and this is what you and I talked about last time, what's he doing?
Well, my point there was simply that there's some kind of thing going on in her mind that makes her unfit for president. I believe that, based on what I've seen.
But that's different than calling someone, right?
I'm offering you kind of what I'm seeing.
Okay, because here's what's happening. But here's what's happening.
Maybe I've said it a little more dispassionately than what he might say.
Well, but this is the point, right? Because now,
that is the point.
But now the surrogates are being forced to answer questions, and no one wants to defend this stuff. Even you don't want to defend it because you're basically saying, look, he shouldn't be saying it.
I'm saying here that there's something for the voters to have to consider. She is simply incapable of going into dynamic, interactive situations and thinking improvisationally. And Dan, I'm telling you, for a president, that'll get us into trouble.
I understand that's your position.
So that's my point there. Now, on the cop thing and the violence thing, come on. Okay.
Right. But see, this is my...
But how frustrated are you when you go in... I walk into a store. I walk into a drugstore.
Yeah.
And everything's chained up. And I see a guy...
I'm incredibly frustrated.
Last time I went here, I saw a guy take a cart and just...
I'm incredibly frustrated, but what I don't do is start making crazy suggestions about how to change it. And I have much less influence than Donald Trump. I have none.
So that people respond to that rhetoric is how frustrated they are in a society where law and order is gone. We live in a city where way back in the day, Giuliani came in with a broken window theory, and Times Square
And I thought I was very supportive of Giuliani at the time. Yeah.
My point is that you can have that kind of life, law and order under leadership. We don't have that anywhere in our country right now.
But it sounds to me like what you're really saying is, Dan, you're kind of right. I wish he wouldn't talk quite this way.
I think there's a problem here with Kamala's leadership, Kamala Harris's leadership. I think there's a problem here with the fact that people are just off the charts mad at the rape and murder and crime and burglaries and all the stuff that's going on.
But there's a way
he talks about it on his rallies. That's what he does.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.